Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Howdy. Bonus show. Good stuff. Good times. I have a story here about this brain training device. So this ultra runner, they call them, I guess these people who run hundreds of miles, do crazy things. It doesn't sound healthy to me.
It doesn't. And I've mentioned before, I'm not really interested in long distance running. Like for me, 5K, 3.1 miles is about as long as I'm interested in running. And once I get back into running shape, now that we're in Boston and things are settling down, I have no interest in going beyond 5K. I just want to get to that and sort of improve my time.
Yeah.
But the marathon, it increasingly seems like the real long distance running is not very healthy for the joints. It doesn't even seem that it's that healthy cardiovascularly.
Yeah, well, I think what you can, well, they say if you're doing cardiovascular exercise for more than an hour straight, that you're actually doing more harm than good.
Right.
But at the same time, I feel like if that was the case, this guy would be dead because this guy's a machine.
Right.
A total machine. So, but anyway, he uses this, what's being called a mind-altering gadget called the Think, or Think, but it's probably Think. THYNC. And you put it on your head. It sticks to different points where there are nerves or whatever, and it zaps your head. It sounds like something out of a science fiction movie, but anyway, it doesn't look that ridiculous. I mean, it's a relatively small device.
Sure.
But it has different modes, and one of them is for energy, right? One of them is to improve your energy, help you run longer, or whatever you need to do. It has a mode that helps you sleep, and it's according to this runner, it works wonders. But at first, he said that it, may be a little painful, uncomfortable. He was unsure about how well this would work, and eventually, he started realizing that it was having a relatively large impact on his abilities and what he could do. Helped with his sleep. Sleep is very important, of course, when you're an athlete and you heal while you sleep. He said it helped him sleep better. And it doesn't sound that crazy to me that a device like this would actually help you in certain ways. I mean, there's been a lot of research on how we respond to different frequencies and different types of light and things like that. And so zapping your brain, I mean, seems like it could work, right?
It seems like it could work. It seems like it could also do really, really horrible things. I mean, it could go either way, right?
I guess we don't have much research on what long-term use will do, but if this guy says it's working, would you try it?
I don't know that I would try it just based on this one guy. I think I would wait until we had more data about exactly what this does, what its deliberate impacts are, what the side effects are, etc.
By modulating norepinephrine, it can produce similar effects as banned doping agents. So maybe this is the type of thing that all athletes should be using, Dave. Can you imagine before a game, just everyone's in the locker room with these little things on their heads, zapping themselves?
Right.
And I guess if you have a high pain threshold tolerance, you can kind of turn up the juice a little bit and have your own personal one designed.
There you go.
That's even more powerful. Interesting. I don't think I'll be getting one. It's
no.
Probably
in the same way that you wouldn't want to be one of the first 8 people on Mars, like you said, I don't think I'd want to be one of the first people to start using something like this.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't want to do that. Here's a story. Vaccinations are back, Dave. It's kind of a big deal.
And how's the camera switching going over there, would you say?
It's a little slower during the bonus show.
Right, okay.
Bonus show's a little more relaxed. And also, I'm trying to do too many things at once.
Sure, of course.
It's not easy being me. So this Canadian mother of 7 I guess she got her first 2 or 3 kids vaccinated, or at least over a certain period of time got them vaccinated, and then she stopped. She started reading things online. She fell victim to the misinformation.
Happens to all of us.
And the fear. And eventually all of her children came down with whooping cough
The vaccinated and the unvaccinated ones?
Yes.
Okay.
And she then changed her mind. And she told everyone, this wasn't, she wasn't shy about it. She wasn't kind of keeping it on the down low. But she kind of went public with it, and I think that's a good thing. She said, I set out to prove that we were right, and in the process found out how wrong we were. And it's, I guess vaccination rates in Canada have waned a bit. And she has a blog. She wrote for thescientificparent.org.
Oh, dear.
We stopped because we were scared and didn't know who to trust. Was the medical community just paid off puppets of a big pharma government media conspiracy? Were these vaccines even necessary in this day and age? Were we unwittingly doing greater harm than help to our beloved children? So much smoke must mean a fire, so we defaulted to do nothing and hope nothing bad happens position. But when a small measles outbreak hit nearby, she was terrified. I looked again at the science and evidence for community immunity and found myself gripped with a very real sense of personal and social responsibility before God and man. The time had come to make a more fully informed decision than we did 6 years ago. I sat down with our family doctor and we put together a catch-up vaccination schedule for our children.
This is so interesting because on the one hand, she doesn't seem as dogmatic as some of the anti-vaxxers, right? She said, well, it did take some personal confrontation with the reality of some of these diseases, but she's willing to be back on the vaccinations, which says a lot. But then at the same time, she says it's all directed by God, but you still need the vaccinations.
God gave us vaccinations.
God gave us the vaccinations rather than natural immunity to the diseases. Anyway, the positive thing is she changed from being an anti-vaxxer to getting her kids vaccinated. That's the victory.
And it wasn't technically after the whooping cough happened. She listened to reason before the whooping cough happened.
Right.
But before all her children could get vaccinated, they all came down with whooping cough. But it's great. Right now, my family is living the consequences of misinformation and fear. I understand that families in our community may be mad at us for putting their kids at risk. I want them to know we tried our best to protect our kids when we were afraid of vaccination, when we are doing our best now for everyone's sake by getting them up to date.
All right.
People like me who were hesitant, who were confused, who froze, we can be reached if people use the right approach.
Do you have, when some people say that the in-between position on vaccines is, okay, on one side you've got anti-vaxxers. On the other side you've got do all the vaccines exactly when the doctors say. And then you have what's considered by some a sort of in-between, which is do the vaccinations, but spread them out to prevent so many vaccines at once. Like Rand Paul said that's what he did. He vaccinates, but he came up with a different schedule to do it in. If you had a kid, accidentally, on purpose, whatever, you love them, you don't, whatever. The focus here is not love, but vaccination. Would you go with the standard schedule of vaccinations, or would you do something like what Rand Paul did, spacing them out?
I don't really know. I think that, of course, if you space them out, you are increasing your risk a little bit. Maybe not much.
You're creating some additional windows during which something could be contracted.
Yeah. But I would certainly, all vaccinations would happen.
Okay.
Maybe I would space them out.
Interesting.
Yeah. What about you?
I mean, I don't think the spacing them out to me doesn't seem crazy in the sense that you can have reactions to different things as a kid, and it can be useful to, like, for example, you wouldn't necessarily give your kid peanuts and
soy
on the same day, right, for the first time, because you want to know if there's a reaction. It's better to know, rather than now having to test both the peanuts and the soy again to see which one it is, we just did peanuts today. So if there was a reaction, there's peanuts. This is aside from the fact that we're creating more peanut allergy by delaying when we give kids peanuts. Forget about that for now. So to the extent that I would research whether it's common to have a sort of allergic type reaction to vaccines. I'm not talking about the vaccine making your kid autistic or anything like that. So if my doctor said, yes, sometimes the suspension fluid that the vaccine is delivered in can cause a reaction or whatever. Yeah, some of these vaccines, there are going to be several boosters during the life of the child. So maybe it's useful to know if one in particular causes a reaction. But I would talk to my doctor. I would be open to the idea of spacing them out if there were allergy type reasons to do it. But I'm sort of open to both ideas, but either way.
Okay. We're in agreement.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
And here, this story is just incredible. A former mafia enforcer turned Christian pastor is a married man. I believe this is in Australia. And he just married a teenage girl with the approval of his wife.
So he's married to two people.
Yes. Now, this is a marriage that is not really recognized by the country.
Yeah.
But, for all intents and purposes, he's married. He's 60. He married this 19-year-old girl with the full support of his 44-year-old wife,
Right.
Belinda. And Tom says he spends 3 nights each with, three on with one, 3 on with the other.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 3 with one, 3 with the other, and then 1 with nobody in a hotel or something like that. But
No.
it's just 3-3 alternating. Yeah.
3. So, and then he got her pregnant. And,
Sure.
of course, the girl's family didn't like this. But according to her, they came around, and as long as she's happy, they're happy.
So
now
this guy's older than the girl's parents, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah. This guy was, I guess he's from Mansfield in Ohio. So maybe he is American, but the website is au.news.yahoo. So, whatever. I can't really figure out where this is. But he said that, of course, the only reason that this seems like it could be a Springer episode or something like that, he feels it's wrong that gay marriages are recognized, but that the state won't recognize his second marriage, though he says he has no problem with homosexuals.
And this is all in the United States.
Oh, it is? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, of course, recognizing of gay marriage. And he says that both wives claim to be happy, although there are some arguments now and then.
Sure.
Now, this is the really funny part. It's just the way this guy uses he speaks, or he uses his euphemisms. He said that he has known this girl for a long time, presumably since when she was very young.
Well, she's still very young, so yeah.
Well, very young. Yeah. And he said he hadn't seen her in a few years. And then he sees her again, and she gave him a hug. And he said that after the hug, he appreciated her. And this is his word. He said, wow. He's like, that wasn't a normal hug. He's like, I want to keep hugging her. I realized that I really appreciate this girl.
Yeah.
As a woman. He I guess appreciate is a term for getting a huge chubby or something. But appreciate. And just an incredible situation. This guy is, I don't understand how he's public about all this is public information. He hasn't, he's not a Mormon, it would seem. And he's just open about this with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pro-family Christian. Why would anybody be upset, right? I mean, he's 60 and he's with a 16-year-old, and he's
19.
also married to another woman, but he is pro-family, I'm sure.
She's 19. She's 19.
19 now.
Just have a bigger family, right?
Right.
But the interesting thing to me about this is that now this child is essentially going to grow up with 2 mothers.
Yeah.
But he is against 2 women, presumably being married, But there's a dad in there too. Does that matter?
I think it does matter, yeah. Certainly to this guy. We've talked about this before. Should there be any limits? I mean, if somebody is legally above the age of consent, then who are we to say that it's bad for a 60-year-old to marry a 19-year-old or an 80-year-old to marry a 22-year-old, right? I mean, if society says these are the bounds of age of consent, then why is it bad? I mean, obviously, I can speculate as to why, which is there's really no way that a 19-year-old and a 60-year-old are in the same place in life in a way that would be logical to me for this type of relationship, but that's sort of a personal opinion, right?
Yeah. I think, so here's my question to you. Not about the age of consent thing. If she's happy, I'm happy for her. If they are all happy, I'm happy for them. I understand that their marriage isn't recognized, but should it be? So I'm basically asking you if polygamy should be legal, if everyone in the party is a consenting adult,
Yeah.
and should it have to be a three-way marriage? Should everyone be married to each other?
We've talked about this before because I know progressives who say, I've always sort of been against multiple marriages. But when I think about the arguments against it, they're very similar to the arguments that bigots make against gay marriage. Like, for example, it's not the way that a particular religious text says relationships should be. Okay, that's not a good argument for progressives to ban gay marriage, so it shouldn't be to ban polygamy. It would require the changing of the law. Well, that is not a good reason to ban gay marriage because it would require modifying maybe a law. So there's this interesting thing where it is different because it no longer involves just two people, but is it different to say marriages between more than two people are practically speaking not different? Now, there's a million logistical problems. Yeah. Normally, your legal spouse, has the ability to make medical decisions.
Right.
If there's two of those people, who gets to make the medical decisions? Do they have to be in agreement? Does it go to one and then the other? Does that have to be made specific? I don't know. But the people I've spoken to who are big on saying, I'm not in favor of polygamy personally, but I don't really know of a good argument not to have it, they would say, the legal stuff we can figure out. That's not a good reason not to have polygamy. It's a debate that exists.
Yeah, certainly. Legally, logistically, financially, the clerical stuff, really messy when you have polygamy.
But by itself, not a reason, if otherwise it's an institution that makes sense to deny people it.
Can't say I would deny people that.
Interesting.
If I were a dictator.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't know. It seems fine. Like I said, people need to be happy, Dave. And but imagine the slippery slope arguments people would make if you start introducing that. And oh man, actually, maybe Republicans would be in favor of it, right?
Yeah, I mean, most the groups that are into polygamy mostly are groups connected to more conservative religions. So there may be more support for polygamy on the right than on the left. Who knows?
I think there might be. And then that Republican representative can be married to his wife, and he can marry the woman who would otherwise be his mistress, right? Or whoever, Dave. So then it wouldn't be a scandal. It'd just be business as usual.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I have 4 wives. It's all legal. No big deal.
Okay. All right. I like it.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.